Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about problem solving in division. Our learning goal for today is that you will be able to solve problems by using the strategy draw a diagram. And in tonight's case, we're going to be using a diagram called a bar model. So we're going to be looking at some word problems and solving some division word problems using these bar models. So let's look at looking at our first question. Our first word problem says, Robert is starting a saltwater aquarium with 36 fish. He wants to start with 11 times as many damselfish as clownfish. How many of each fish will Robert buy? All right, so the first thing that I want to see here is what are my categories? What am I looking at? So I'm actually looking only at two different categories here. So I know Robert wants fish, but it's going to be, he wants 36 total fish, but he wants damselfish and he wants clownfish. Now I don't know how many of each of those he wants yet, but I do know up here it says he wants 11 times as many damselfish. So that's telling me he wants more damselfish than clownfish. I also know that altogether he wants to get 36 fish. So that's going to be his total. All right. So I'm going to write down here my two categories. You always want to list your two categories when you're doing these bar models because you want to keep them straight. You want to keep them separated. Okay, so my damselfish, my clownfish. I know that he wants more damselfish. So that tells me that the clownfish, they're going to get one box in the bar model, okay? Because he doesn't want as many clownfish, he wants more damselfish. So I'm going to represent that, I'm going to have one box for the clownfish. Now, how many boxes does the damselfish get? Well, he wants 11 times more clownfish than 11 times more damselfish than clownfish. So if the clownfish gets one box, that tells me that the damselfish is actually going to get 11 whole boxes. So if I count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 times more damselfish than clownfish. I know I'm saying that a lot, but you really need to understand that because it says 11 times more, that the category that has more is going to have the more boxes. All right, so I am also going to write down what the total amount of fish he wants is. So altogether, he wants 36 fish. Okay, so altogether he's going to have 36 fish. He wants 11 times more damselfish than clownfish. So how am I going to find the answer to this problem? I'm going to need to, first of all, look at my total, 36, and I'm going to divide my total by how many boxes there are altogether. All right, so I'm going to have to scooch down here for a second. So what am I going to do is I'm going to first, the 36 is going to be my dividend. So I'm going to write that here. Now what's my divisor? My divisor is going to be how many boxes there are. Well, I have 11 boxes up here plus this box right here. So that's going to be a total of 12 boxes. So 12 is my divisor. The total is my dividend. 36 divided by 12 is pretty basic, but we'll still solve it using partial quotients. So how many groups of 12 are there in 36? Well, we can pretty easily figure out that there are 3 groups of 12 in 36. 12 times 3 is, in fact, 36. So I can take away 36, and I have a remainder of 0. And that shows me that my quotient is going to be 3 with a remainder of 0. Now, what do I do with this? Well, this number, I just divided 36 by 12, so that means that each of these boxes is representing 3 fish. So I'm going to write in each box how many fish it's representing, which is 3. So once we finish this, we'll be able to figure out how many of each fish Robert's going to want to get. All right, so looking at this, how many clownfish is he going to buy? 3. How many damselfish is he going to buy? Well, I could add 3 plus 3 plus 3 11 times, but the easier way to do it would be to say, well, there's 11 boxes, 3 in each box. Let's multiply 11 times 3. And that, of course, would be 33. All right, so if we're looking up here at our question again, it says, how many of each fish will Robert buy? Well, he's going to buy 33 damselfish and only 3 clownfish. Now, if we add these two numbers together, 33 plus 3, do we get our total of 36? Yes, we do. So that shows us that we got the right numbers. All right, we're going to look at a little bit different type of a question, and then you guys are going to practice on your own. So let's look at this next question here. Still with fish. Tatiana, Lorenzo, and Eduardo went fishing. Tatiana caught a red snapper. Lorenzo caught a tuna with a weight 3 times as great as the weight of the red snapper. Eduardo caught a sailfish with a weight 12 times as great as the weight of the red snapper. If the combined weight of the 3 fish was 208 pounds, how much did the tuna weigh? Well, remember, my first step at looking at these problems is I want to figure out what my categories are. So my first category here is the red snapper, because the red snapper is our first fish that was caught. The second category was the tuna. What do we know about the tuna? Well, all it tells us is the tuna weighed 3 times more than the red snapper. Okay, so we know a little bit more about the tuna. And then we also have the sailfish. That's our third category. And how much did the sailfish weigh? Well, it weighed 12 times more than the red snapper. So we're all comparing these to the red snapper. So I know that my red snapper is actually going to be the smallest fish. So that's going to be my 1 box category. So the red snapper only gets 1 box because it's the smallest one, and it's being compared to, or it is the fish that all the other fish are being compared to. All right, so how many boxes would the tuna get? Well, if I look up here, it says the tuna was 3 times as great as the red snapper. So if the red snapper gets 1 box and the tuna was 3 times greater than the red snapper, well, the tuna would get itself 3 boxes. Oops, I almost revealed some of the sailfish there. All right, so I know that the tuna was 3 times greater than the snapper. So how much bigger was the sailfish than the snapper? If I look up at the problem, it says the sailfish was the weight of the sailfish was 12 times as great as the weight of the snapper. So that shows me that the sailfish is actually going to get 12 whole boxes. So I'm going to have to scooch down here. Got even more boxes down here. All right, so I have I have 1 for the snapper, 3 for the tuna, 12 for the sailfish, just like it tells me in the word problem. Secondly, what we're going to do is we're going to look at what is the total weight of all the fish combined. If I look right here, it tells me that all the 3 fish altogether weigh 208 pounds. So my total here is 208. All right. So if we remember back to our original problem that we just did, the way we solved this is we divided our total by how many boxes there were, because we want to figure out what the number in each of these boxes is. So we're going to divide how many boxes there are. Can you guys figure out how many boxes there are? 12 plus 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. All right, so we're going to take 16, that's our divisor, and we're dividing that, and that is how many groups we're breaking apart our 208 into. All right, so using partial quotients, remember this is pretty close right here, so I can go ahead and take out 10 groups of 16 first. So 16 times 10. That would be 160, so I'm going to subtract that. 8 minus 0 is 8. I'm going to regroup my 2 and take away 1 from my 2, add it to my 0 here to make it 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. And 1 minus 1 is 0, so don't have to worry about that. Alright, now I'm going to move on to my last step here, 16. How many more groups of 16 can I take away? Just so happens I can take away exactly 3 groups of 16, which equals 48. So I will have a remainder of 0. I'm going to add together my partial quotients to get my final quotient, and that will be 13. Alright, so when we fill in all of the boxes with our quotient here, which is 13, so we took 208 and then we split it up equally amongst all these boxes, and so each box has 13. Now that 13 actually represents the weight of each fish. So the red snapper weighed 13 pounds, and then the tuna weighed 3 times more than that, so 13 times 3. So we're going to have to do 13 times 3. Because remember, if we look back at our question, it's not asking for the weight of all the fish. It just wants to know how much did the tuna weigh. 13 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3. So, altogether, our tuna weighed 39 pounds. So our answer we're going to put up here is 39. Alright, so now is a good time for you all to practice. If you missed anything or if you're confused by anything, please go back and rewatch the video to help you clarify anything. And here are your turn problems. Make sure you complete them in your math journal as well as complete the rest of your WISC. Make sure you hit the turn in button on Edmodo and type a message telling us that you've watched the video. Have a great night.